and you look great. You still could kick, and you still could probably go out there because they're uncertain about that.
I don't know. With that extra point going back to 35 yards, it might be a stretch now.
How did you feel when you found out about that? Because the extra point is, what's funny is it's automatic until you miss one, and then you get a lot of grief if a kicker misses one. But now, I mean, the percentages are going to go from 98. I know you have stats like 98.5, 99.5, down to field goals from that distance are like 89 to 90%. It's going to put a lot more premium on it,
especially when the weather changes. I think you'll see, which almost will probably also impact the strategy. I mean, there'll probably be times that they will go maybe for two because the field's in bad shape, or
well, that's what I said. I've talked to people is if you're playing in Green Bay and they've got a good kicker from Crosby from CU, but if you're playing in Pittsburgh and you play in those places, I talked about Cleveland, the old Cleveland Stadium had those swirling winds in New York. Those are some bad winds in there that I think you have to tailor your team in regard to that extra point based late in the year on field condition. You know that from kicking off grass that's awful. I think you were involved, I won't say, but Mike Shanahan and I had a debate once about he went for a field goal. He went for a field goal in San Diego off the dirt. And I said afterward, that was a mistake, and he agreed with me. He said, wasn't thinking about where the position would be because the team was on the grass, but the kicker was going to be in the dirt. And I would guess, and I'll ask you, how tough was it to kick off dirt? Because you had to do that.
And depending on the baseball infield, which is what you're talking about, I mean, that some of them were pretty hard, and your cleat would just kind of slide across the top of them. So, you're always a little concerned about your footing. Yeah,
because San Diego and Oakland, I know you had to kick there.
Well, not Oakland, but on because they were in LA in those days. But San Diego, and then the old riverfront and or Three Rivers and stuff. They just put those AstroTurf panels in, so there were like gaps you could like step into and lose a leg.
It was more hazardous duty than we ever knew. Knowing the nature of coaches in the NFL, and many are extremely conservative, do you think we'll see the vast majority of head coaches in the NFL still continue to just kick the extra point, even though it's going to be a 33, 34-yard kick? Or are we going to see more coaches risking the two-point conversion?
I don't know. I think by nature, coaches are pretty conservative, and I think they'll go for the extra point, and unless I'm sure they all have their charts, of when they'll go for it and when they won't, and I just think that unless somebody comes up with a concept that that two-point conversion becomes
almost automatic,
60 or 70% probability of success, then I think maybe I mean, coaches still tend to be they tend to follow those that are having success. So.